Hello everyone, welcome to the next lecture. Myself, Professor Neha Sharma from Computer Engineering Department of KK Wagh Institute of Engineering Education and Research, Nashik. We are NAC A accredited and NBA accredited for 8 branches. So as we are all aware that in this particular lecture series we are discussing the course Data Analytics, which belongs to BE Computer Engineering 2015 course of Savitribai Phule Pune University. In this particular lecture we are going to discuss one of the topics from unit number 6, and the topic that we are going to discuss here is Hadoop ecosystem. So before we actually move on to the contents, let us have a look at the objective and the outcome. So the objective of this particular e-lecture is to discuss various components of the Hadoop ecosystem, and at the end of the lecture we will be able to list various components of Hadoop ecosystem, as well as we will be able to explain in detail the various components of Hadoop ecosystem. So now we start with our lecture. So now when we are dealing with this Hadoop ecosystem, in the previous lectures we have already seen about Hadoop, HDFS and the MapReduce. So in continuation, if you have to develop any ecosystem for a computer based system, you need to have few functionalities. What are those functionalities? First, you need to have a particular programming language in which you are going to code. Okay. Then second, you need some functionalities wherein you are able to write the query and you have a database, so you can fire those queries on the database and extract the data that is needed, right? Then third thing that you need to have is to know or have the knowledge of data analytical tools that if you apply on that database, you are able to derive insights from that database, and then you can use it to enhance your business, right? So, and the last thing that is very important now, since we are dealing with big data and big data projects, so obviously it is a huge amount of data, and here we are discussing Hadoop ecosystem. So that data resides in your Hadoop, okay, that is, it resides on your HDFS. So you need to have some functionality to provide real time reads and writes. So to handle or take care of all these features and functionalities, our Hadoop ecosystem has 4 major things that we have to study in this particular lecture. What are those? First is Pig. It provides a high level data flow programming language. Second is Hive, which provides SQL like access for querying. Third is Mahout, which provides analytical tools. And the fourth one is HBase, that provides real time reads and writes. So basically this Pig and Hive, they are related to coding in some way, where you write some code or you write some queries and then you fire them and get the results, and this is later translated or converted, the results of your language or the results of your queries, they are later converted into MapReduce programs. So it is basically intended for batch processing, right? Now once your Hadoop resides or it is being processed, okay, then you need to have knowledge of certain advanced tools, analytical tools. So that functionality is provided by Mahout, where you can analyze the data in the Hadoop environment. And last one is HBase, which I have already mentioned. It is basically used for storing the data in memory as well as in HDFS, and it provides real time reads and writes. So now let us see each of these components of the Hadoop ecosystem in detail. So let us start with Pig. Pig basically is a data flow language. It is also called as Pig Latin. The environment to execute the Pig code. It provides an environment to execute the Pig code. Now why we are using Pig? In order to be able to utilize the power of MapReduce in a distributed environment. Now why we are discussing distributed environment? Because it is a Hadoop ecosystem. you have a cluster of nodes wherein you have to execute the MapReduce programs. Okay, now for that the programming language that we are going to use is Pig Latin. So let us discuss some of the basic Pig commands. Whenever you have to enter into Pig, the first command, very first command that you have to provide in your Hadoop system is pig. Okay, once you give this command, you enter into the grunt prompt. Now what is grunt? Grunt is nothing but it is interactive shell for executing the Pig commands, right? So as you can see here on the screen, the command that we are trying to execute is load. So as the name tells you, load is nothing but the command used to load a particular file, okay, and we are trying to save that in the variable records. So we are trying to load the file of name customer.txt. Now where does this file resides? Yes, it resides in Hadoop system, or it resides in HDFS. So we are trying to load this file as customer ID of type int, first name of type character array, last name again of type character array, email address of type character array, right? So we have loaded this data set or loaded this file and stored it in records. So that is the first command, load. Now what I want to do is I want to filter the records that have a particular email address from a particular internet service provider. So in that case, the next command that we can use is filter. So as you can see on the screen, I am using the command filter on records, and I am trying to filter it by email address where it matches .star@isp.com. So any particular internet service provider, if the email address ends with a particular @isp.com, then only those records I am trying to filter and store it in filtered records. Okay, so that is the second command, filter. Then third, once I have filtered the records, I want to again store it back into my Hadoop system. Okay, so for that purpose we use the command store. So what I want to store, first command is store. What I want to store is filtered records. Where I want to store is into the path of my Hadoop system. Okay, and if I want to exit the Pig terminal, then I have to simply specify quit. So this is the basic example of some of the Pig commands that we can execute. So grunt, as I have already told you, it is nothing but Pig's interactive shell that helps user interact with the HDFS. Then if I want to store all the commands that I have executed into a script file, which I can again submit it at the command prompt, then for that I have to provide Pig name of the script .pig. So using this I can store the individual Pig commands and I can write it to the script and then submit it back at the command prompt, right? So if you want some more details on Pig, you can directly go and check the functionalities and some functions, built-in functions from pig.apache.org, right? And one more important thing, in Pig you can also write your own functions, that is user defined function in any of the languages that you are comfortable with, and you can share it on the repository, on the Pig repository, which is called as Piggy Bank. And where this repository is hosted, it is hosted on the Apache site. Okay, so that is all about Pig. That is the first component. Here are some more commands that you can see, some more rather built-in functions, Pig functions. The first column shows the functions related to evaluation. You can see min, max, is empty, count, concat, average, and so on and so forth. Second column gives list of functions for loading and storing. Third column is related to math related functions, round, absolute value, ceil, sine, cosine, square root, tan, cos, and so on and so forth, right? Then fourth column gives you a list of functions for string manipulation, and the last column gives you a list of functions for date and time. So you can go ahead and check for each of these functionalities in detail from the site that is already mentioned on the previous slide. Now we move on to the second component of the Hadoop ecosystem. The second component is Hive. It is nothing but it stands for Hive query language, or it is also called as Hive QL. Now why it is called as Hive QL? QL stands for query language. So it resembles in some way to your SQL, that is the structured query language. Now if you compare Hive with Pig, Pig actually resembles a scripting language, whereas Hive resembles a query language. So if you are trying to work with Pig, that means you are actually dealing with writing scripts, and if you are trying to work using Hive, that means you are more into writing queries, right? Then on the screen you can see a sample Hive code, wherein you can see if you want to enter the Hive prompt, you have to simply type Hive, and then in this particular slide we are trying to create a table of name customer with customer ID, first name, last name, email address, okay, and row format is delimited by tab, okay. So our file is separated by tab, that is the column values are separated by tabs, okay. So this is how you create a table using Hive. Here is one more example. If I want to select or if I want to count how many jobs, MapReduce jobs are there, then I can write the query select count star from customer. So as you can see the output, it has created one map job and one reduce job using this particular command, okay. Now if we want to load the customer table with the contents of HDFS file customer.txt, all we have to do is we have to simply provide the path of the HDFS directory. How we are going to do that? Simply write the command load data in path and then provide the entire path of your HDFS file into table customer. So I want to read the data from customer.txt and I want to save it into the table or load it into the table customer, okay. So that is what this particular query does. Then next command is select star from customer limit 3. Now limit 3 means what? It will simply display 3 rows from the customer table. So as you can see in the output, it has displayed the 3 rows from the customer table, okay. Similarly, if you want to quit the Hive prompt, again the command is quit is for quit, same as Pig. And if you want to write all your commands into a script, then the command for that is Hive-f my underscore script is the name of the script.sql. So whatever commands we have executed, they will be copied into a script and then stored, okay. So that is all about the sample queries that you can write using Hive. So if you want to use Hive, what are the conditions that help us decide when do we use Hive, okay. First condition is if the data that is available to us, it easily fits into a table structure. That means what? It is a structured data, okay. You will not be able to work with Hive properly if your data is semi-structured or quasi-structured or unstructured for that matter. So in that case, Hive is not very useful. So if it is a structured data set, then you can go for using Hive. Then second, data is already in HDFS. Obviously we are studying Hadoop ecosystem, so the data is already loaded into HDFS, and then we can fire queries using Hive and extract the data. In that case we can use Hive. Third thing, now as it resembles a query language, obviously if the person who wants to use Hive, it will be very comfortable for the person if he or she is very well acquainted with SQL programming and working with queries and has some expertise in working with this before. So obviously in that case it will be easy to use Hive, okay. Then fourth important thing is it is good to use Hive when data is updated periodically, okay, because for in-place updation, that is for real-time reads and write, Hive is not a very good option. In that case we have to go for using HBase, which we will discuss after this. So that is the fourth thing. And last is if batch processing is acceptable or is allowed or is desired for a given scenario, then in that case also we can make use of Hive, okay. So only important thing that we should remember here is Hive is not intended for real-time querying, because for real time, if your data gets updated very frequently or dynamically, then in that case Hive is not very much useful. So it is not intended for use in such a situation, right? So that is all about the second component of the Hadoop ecosystem, which is Hive. Then the third component that we are trying to discuss here is HBase. So unlike Pig and Hive, Pig and Hive is intended for batch applications. HBase is intended more for real-time read and write access, that too on huge data sets. Okay. Now from where this HBase came? HBase is actually based on Google's 2006 paper, which was on Bigtable. And what is this Bigtable? As the name tells you, big table, a table handling big data in a distributed environment. So as you can see in bracket, Bigtable is nothing but it is a distributed storage system for managing structured data. Okay, so that is what is about Bigtable. So based on this particular paper on Bigtable, they came up with the idea of HBase. So HBase is what? It is a data store. So that means it is a place where we store the data. So obviously data is stored. So if you want to make any manipulations on that data, you need some functionality to make that read and write. So for that purpose we make use of Hive. So it is intended to be distributed across a cluster of nodes, because it is a Hadoop environment, because it is a Hadoop ecosystem. Your data may be present or may be spread across number of nodes or a cluster of nodes, okay, from where you want to make manipulations on that data. Okay, then this HBase is built upon HDFS. So obviously it is built on Hadoop distributed file system. That means the data that resides in files is spread across a distributed environment. So obviously whenever distributed environment comes into picture, you very well know that main important issue of distributed computing is we have to balance the load properly and equally across the distributed system, in this case across the Hadoop ecosystem. So load sharing is a very important aspect here that we need to take care of. Then what is this Hadoop HBase table look like, or what exactly you have in that particular table? So an HBase table basically comprises or consists of three things. One is row, column and version. Okay. Now why this third component version? Obviously we have said that it is useful for real time read and write access. So to take care of the timestamp, you need this version. Okay. So HBase here uses a key value structure that we will see in the next slide. Okay, so let us take an example of say suppose you have done some shipping, and on the website people try to maintain your shipping address. So maybe sometime you specify shipping address of your home or your office or your friends or your family somewhere. Okay, so you may have number of shipping address logged into your account. Okay, now the system keeps track of when you have used a particular shipping address last. Okay, so that is the advantage of using the versioning or timestamp facility. So you can see here on 15th April 2014 the first address was last used. On 15th March 2014 the second address was used, and on 14th Feb 2014 the third address was used. So to take care of when a particular shipping address was used by the customer, this timestamp facility is helpful. Okay. Now what is this? We have seen that Hadoop maintains the data in terms of key value pairs. So key consists of what? Key means what? Let us see. So this key consists of many elements that you can see listed on the slide. The first one is the row length, that is, as the name tells you, row length. So it counts the number of items in a row, and that becomes your row length. Second is row. So row is actually, sometimes it is also referred as row key. So it is just like your primary key attribute. So say for example, if you have a order database, then in that case order number, that is your primary key, would be considered as the row attribute. That is nothing but the primary attribute. Then you have column family length, column family, and column qualifier. So I have taken these names together because they are related in some way. Let us take the same example of, you have an customer orders database. Okay, in that case orders, in general orders refers to the column family. Now this order itself may have your shipping address, your billing address, your order date, your order amount, and so on so forth. Okay, so anything related to a order becomes your column qualifier. Okay, so column family is orders, that is all the information related to order details for that matter. Column qualifier is actually the details related to the order. Okay, that is for example shipping address, billing address, amount, and so on so forth, right? So this is nothing but column qualifier and column family, the basic difference between the two. Then you have a cell. Cell is nothing but it is the intersection of row and a column. Okay, then you have version, that is nothing but timestamp. We have already discussed this before. And then you have key type. Now this key type can be either read or delete. It can be either write or delete. So write is when you want to write the data, and delete is when you want to delete. Now as the name tells you, delete means we want to delete, but actually it is not a delete operation. It is actually a write operation only, where you are trying to specify some timestamp. Before that timestamp or older to that timestamp, all entries should be deleted. So delete actually happens with the write operation. So that is the two key types here that is mentioned, write or delete. So we'll see a few examples. Now as it is, we are discussing HBase. So to enter into the HBase, we use HBase shell. Then you get the HBase prompt. So here we are trying to create a table of name myTable with two column families, CF1 and CF2. Okay, and splits is equal to 2,50,000. Okay, then you have 5 lakhs and you have 7,50,000. Okay, now what this means is, you are trying to create a table and split it into 4 regions or split it into 4 parts. Now how you are going to split it into 4 parts? Using this splits. So the first entry in this is 2,50,000. That means all the entries before or up to 2,50,000 falls in the first region. Then second region is from 2,50,000 to 5 lakhs. Okay, third region is from 5 lakhs to 75,000, and fourth region is from 75,000 onwards. So we have already split our data set. Now MapReduce will take care further, because we have already split it into 4 regions or 4 parts. So it can create different MapReduce jobs and perform read and write operation accordingly on the respective region. Okay, so that is the advantage of using splits. Then we have the next command, put. Now what we are trying to do using put command is, on this table, on this database, that is my_table, the second entry indicates the row identifier or the row number. In this particular row, that is 0000700, what we are trying to do is, we are trying to display, or we are trying to add, rather we are trying to add CQ3, that is column qualifier 3 into column family 2. Okay, what we are trying to add there, what data we are trying to add there is data 3. So this data 3 is the value that I am going to add into column qualifier 3, where in column family 2. Okay, so that is put. That means adding something into the table. similarly you can have get to display the result. So from this particular database, in this particular row, I want to display the value of CQ3 from CF2. Okay, so as you can see, it is being displayed. Okay, now similarly if you check the next command, in the next command I am trying to display the last two or recent two versions from the column qualifier 3 of column family 2 from row 700 from the table my table. So it will simply display the latest two versions of this. Similarly, the next command is scan. Scan tries to scan your table from start row to the stop row. So it will scan and display the results. And the last command that you can see here is related to delete. So as I've already said, delete is, it will try to delete data from a particular row of a particular column qualifier or column family, and then you have to provide the timestamp. So timestamp indicates all values before or older to that timestamp will be deleted. Okay, so that is the example of delete. And now we move on to the last component of our Hadoop ecosystem, and this last component is Mahout. So what is this Mahout? Is nothing but it is a set of advanced analytical tools that you use in a Hadoop environment. So it basically provides a set of Java libraries for analysis on big data. So since it provides the Java code, it can implement various algorithms related to classification, clustering, recommendation systems, collaborative filtering, and so on and so forth. So you can use any of the algorithms of classification, linear regression, clustering, KNN, k-means, random forest. Okay, so likewise you can use any machine learning algorithms, because Mahout provides the Java code for implementing those algorithms. So for more details, if you want to download, you can download it directly from www.apache.org, or you can use commercial packages provided by Pivotal company, and the package is provided for a distribution Pivotal HD Enterprise. Okay, so let's have a quick overview of the components you can see here. The components in black are already the functionalities provided by Apache, and those provided in blue or green, whatever you name it, are those provided by the Pivotal company. So you can see here there are some virtual extensions available. Then you have HAWQ that we will see later on, and you have Gemfire XD. It is for real-time database services that are provided by the Pivotal HD Enterprise. Then you have Spring. Then you have Graph Hub, Open MPI, that also we will see. Then you have a big command center over here, okay, which is responsible for configuring, deploying, monitoring, and managing. Okay, so we'll see now each of these components in detail. So in the previous diagram, or in the previous component of the Mahout, you have already seen certain things. The first is Oozie. So what is this Oozie? It manages the Apache Hadoop jobs by acting as a workflow scheduler system. So whatever are the number of jobs that you have to manage, when those jobs should be managed or when they should be executed, that scheduling part is taken care of by Oozie. Okay, so now once scheduling is done, for a job to perform a particular task, you need some data. So that data should be available at the proper place. So for controlling the movement of the data between Hadoop and the relational database efficiently, you need the second component, in that is nothing but Whoop. Okay, so that is the second component. And the last component is when you have to collect and aggregate streaming data or the log data for that matter, then in that case you use the third component, which is called as Flume. Okay, so it includes these particular softwares. It are all that you can see on the diagram of Mahout. In addition to this, there are some more functionalities provided by Mahout, and those functionalities are divided into four parts. The first part is the command center. So command center, as we have already seen, it is a robust cluster management tool. So robust cluster management tool. So it does all the functionality, or it takes care of all the functionality related to managing the cluster. Means what? It allows user to install, configure, monitor and manage all the Hadoop components and services through a web graphical interface. So that is basically the use of the command center. Okay, then you have the second component or second functionality, which is called as GraphLab on OpenMPI. Now MPI, as we already know, it is message passing interface. It is highly used and mature graph based MPI or message passing interface, which is high performing distributed computation framework. Okay, so that is basically the use of GraphLab on OpenMPI. So you can manage a huge graph which has millions and billions of nodes, and it also provides a scalability feature. Okay, so that is why we use this. Then third component or functionality is Hadoop virtualization extensions. Okay, so what is this Hadoop virtualization extension? They are plugins that make Hadoop aware of the virtual topology and scale the Hadoop nodes dynamically in a virtual environment. Okay, so it is basically helpful for actual deployment in a particular enterprise. Okay, so that is Hadoop virtualization extensions. And the last component or the last functionality here is HAWQ. Okay, it stands for Hadoop based query interface. Okay, so it can help render Hadoop queries faster than any Hadoop based query interface on the market by adding rich, proven parallel SQL processing facilities. Okay, so these are all the components and the functionalities provided by Hadoop. So using all these functionalities, using all these tools, using the Java code and the already existing libraries available for implementing various machine learning algorithms, Mahout is useful for deriving extracts using all these functionalities and these tools, and then taking the appropriate decisions. So that is all about the Hadoop ecosystem. So I hope you have understood the entire ecosystem properly. Just a quick review. We have seen that Hadoop ecosystem has basically 4 components. First is Pig, that is a programming language. Using some scripts, you can interact. You can have an interaction with the grunt prompt, and then by providing certain commands, Pig commands, you can interact with the database. Okay, so that is about Pig. Second is Hive. It is related to or just like a query language. So you can write queries in Hive and you can fire it on the database and then extract the desired results. So Pig and Hive are basically intended for batch processing. Then you have third component, which is HBase. It is basically used for real-time read and write access. Okay, and the last component is Mahout, which is nothing but a set of advanced analytical tools and techniques that help you derive insights from your data that is present on HDFS. So these are basically the 4 components of Hadoop ecosystem. I hope you have completely understood the concept. Still, if you have some queries, you can write to me on ngSharma@kkwatt.edu.in. So yeah, that's all from my side. So thank you so much for patient listening. Have a nice day. Thank you.